So the CAD files have officially leaked for the next generation iPhone Fold or Ultra or Flip or Book. No one really knows what they're going to call it, but it's not following the Galaxy Z Fold approach quite exactly, and I think that's probably a good thing, but I also don't expect it to become the bestseller. Let's begin. So the main reason I'm skeptical of the folding iPhone doing all that well, aside from the obvious things of like, yes, it's going to be more expensive, but historically that's never really stopped people. You know, the iPhone 10 was wildly popular, and in most recent years, like the best-selling iPhone has always been like the Pro Max, like the most expensive model. So I'm not even of the belief that the folding phone is going to flop because it's just too expensive. I think even if an iPhone is really expensive, if it's cool enough, if it has great enough features, people will pay it because people live on their phones. They use them for everything these days. They use them as cameras, displays, entertainment, communication. They use them for work. There's just like an endless supply of use cases for our phones. And when the cost of living is so high, whether it be rent or mortgage or car payments, that phone, honestly, not a big dent in everybody's budget. So they're happy to spend a lot of money on it because they use it so much. But my main issue that I'm noticing from these leaked CAD files is that the iPhone Fold, at least on paper, doesn't look like the best iPhone overall in regards to features that people genuinely care about, like the camera performance. I think that's proven to be a really important issue, and that's why we've seen the sales do so poorly for the iPhone Air. Apple copped out on camera for the sake of thin and form factor and, you know, the good first impressions you have when you pick up an iPhone Air, like, wow, this is thin and light. How did you make the phone so thin and light? Well, we took out everything you care about, which is battery life and camera performance. I think that's part of the reason the Pro Maxes have been the best sellers so long, because everybody just keeps saying, I want the best possible battery life because I use my phone all the time, and I want the best possible camera because I don't want to be missing out on capturing a moment in my life that's valuable or important just because I decided to save a couple $100 on a camera lens when I last upgraded my phone. And I particularly feel strongly about this based on the sales of the iPhone 17 series, because now you can actually get a ProMotion display on the cheapest base level iPhone 17. There's actually very little advantages to going with a Pro now in regards to display, aside from just the larger size. Could be part of the reason everybody's going for the Pro Max is they just want the biggest iPhone they can possibly get. But I still think it ultimately is going to come down to battery life and camera more so than it is overall screen size. And the reason I feel more so this way is I've seen a lot of people doing, you know, 3D printed mock-ups or paper mock-ups of the folding iPhone, and it's much more of a passport approach, kind of like how we saw with the first generation Pixel Fold or with Oppo folding phones in the past, where it's fairly squarish and kind of iPad-like when folded up, but then you can unfold it into a iPad mini sized screen close to 8 inches. But when you hold it next to a Pro Max, you realize you're not actually gaining all that much screen real estate, especially when you're watching content. So whether or not people actually see the extra screen real estate as a win, as like, oh wow, I can hold a tablet in my pocket, I think is really going to come down to the software, which honestly I don't have a lot of faith in with Apple right now. So many people leaving at the same time, and the liquid glass kind of overheating everybody's older phones, or Apple Intelligence not doing half of the things they were claiming it was going to do and being late. Just as far as software being really, really well done and executed perfectly, I don't feel super confident about right now. So I have a feeling that when the folding iPhone launches for say $1,800 or $1,500, whatever it ends up costing, even if the build quality is great, everybody keeps talking about how Apple's figured out how to get rid of the crease on the folding display. Again, I don't think that's the problem with this phone. The problem is it's not going to have the best overall camera, and it's not going to have the best overall battery because they had to thin out the design so drastically to get it somewhat normal when folded up. And when you're trying to package so much tech, multiple displays into a really thin, really light device, you have to compromise with some of the hardware. So this is not going to have Face ID. This is only going to have a dual camera system, so it's probably just going to be ultra wide and the main sensor, but I wouldn't even be surprised if they restrict the better sensor with the better aperture and the better lens and everything to the 18 Pro Max, which will likely be cheaper and still have a very, very large display. And on paper, I'm betting the 18 Pro Max is going to have better battery life than the folding phone. And similar to the iPhone Air, which was not necessarily cheap, but it was cool looking, it was unique, being titanium and everything, it just couldn't find a good foothold in the market because everybody's like, yeah, at $1,000 I'm so close to a Pro, which is better battery, better camera. That's what matters more to people, not so much the refresh rate or the size of the display. That's what I think the sales data is indicating. And in a way, the folding iPhone, which might be called iPhone Ultra, I don't know, that just sounds like something Apple would do to keep it consistent with other product naming schemes. It sounds like the argument Apple's going to try to make with this thing is it's like the biggest possible display you could get on an iPhone for the highest possible price, but camera and battery, those are the two big compromises that the iPhone Air had and the iPhone Ultra is probably going to have compared to the Pro Max. And you know what? I'm okay if it doesn't sell that well. I'm just glad to see Apple experimenting a little bit and trying new things. Even if they don't necessarily sell that well, I think it's more interesting for us as content creators and just as long-term fans of Apple. We don't want Apple to just get complacent and comfortable releasing the same exact thing every year, just slightly faster chip, slightly brighter screen, slightly better camera. Even though that's technically the best seller, like yes, year after year, that is consistently proven to be the model that everybody buys, just from the sake of, hey, you got to announce these things, you got to market them, you got to have events. And if you want to stay relevant in the press, it's good to sometimes experiment and try new things, even if they're not like the company's bread and butter and they're not the best-selling product in the world. Similar to Apple Vision Pro. That was a lot of fun to review and check out, and it gave all of us in the tech community something to sink our teeth into and experiment with and try out and be like, is this a good product? Is this a field that Apple should continue pursuing? Is there a price point or a feature set or an improvement that could make this headset justifiable to the everyday public? Those kinds of conversations are fun, and I enjoy having them with you guys. And if Apple just would have accepted that, $3,500 is too expensive, nobody's going to buy that, then we wouldn't have been able to have those conversations. You know, it wouldn't have been as fun, and I'm okay with Apple experimenting with designs that don't necessarily sell all that well, like a folding iPhone, as long as they give it their best and we get to figure out what really matters to us in a smartphone purchase. And there's little niches, I'm sure, that will appreciate it, like the mini iPhone niche. Even though they don't make mini iPhones anymore, there's still a very passionate community of people that love and are holding on to their 13 minis as long as possible. And I bet similarly, there will be a lot of people that hold on to their iPhone Airs as long as possible because they just love how thin and lightweight it feels, and it just feels like magic in their hands, even though they're not the majority. In fact, they're by far the smallest chunk of the latest iPhone sales. They're still very passionate and proud that Apple catered to their little niche, and I think we might have something similar with the folding iPhone. Not everybody loves it, not everybody wants one, but the people who do are very happy with it. What do you guys think of the folding iPhone rumors so far? Would you be interested in having a little iPad mini you can carry with you? What software features could help justify that additional cost? And how important is it to you to have that telephoto lens on the back? Could you get by with just an ultra wide and a main lens, even if you're dropping $1,800? Is that justifiable? Feel free to let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. Seriously, helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos. So thanks again. This is your Help Sheep here, and I will see you on the next one.